Hi everyone, welcome back to the Gypsy Caravan. I'm Shan. How you doing? So today I'm going to be trying the underpainting method. I can't tell you if this is right or wrong, but I saw it on TikTok, so we are going to give it a go. Basically, it just means putting down all your highlighting and contouring products down first, and then putting foundation over it. It's supposed to look more natural, apparently. So that's what we're going to be trying today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on social media. This is my handle, so be sure to follow me on all platforms. I'm going to start with concealer, which is the highlighting aspect of underpainting. I'm using the Studio Waterweight concealer in the shade NC15 by MAC Cosmetics, and basically I'm just going to conceal and then use the concealer to highlight where you would normally highlight your face. This is sort of like highlighting and contouring your face, but putting it underneath your foundation. Like I said, this is what's going to give you a more natural finish, apparently. I've never tried this before, so this is the first time I'm trying it. I've also decided to go with NC15, which is, in concealer for me, is a little bit brighter than my normal skin tone. Generally, if you're familiar with the MAC shade range system, or color system, I generally fall between an NC15, NC20, or an NW20 and an NW24. So an NC15 for me is quite light, so that's why I'm using it to highlight and just conceal problem areas. So as you can see, I'm just using the spoolie or the spatula that came in the sample. I don't actually have this concealer. So I'm just using the spoolie to place down all the concealer on my face. So that's what that looks like. Now moving on to cream contour. I am using the Fenty Freestyle Cream Contour Goodie. I actually don't know the full name, but I'm in the shade Amber 01. And then using a 164 Duo Fibre contour brush by MAC Cosmetics. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the concealer, but this is obviously to contour, sculpt, and shape my face. So I'm going to be applying it in all the areas where you would contour or shape or map out your face. This is quite a cool undertone, or your contour should be a cooler undertone. This one is a little bit too cool for me, but I do like the fact that it does create a really nice shadow on my face once it's been blended out. I am doing all the cream products first, and you'll see later in the video I'm going to go in with powder products, obviously, to set everything. So I'm just showing you the cream products now, and then obviously move to powder later on in the video. So I normally chisel out my cheeks. I bring down my forehead a little because I have a squoval face. I'm not quite round, I'm not quite square in the face, I'm like in between. And then I take down the awful double chin that I have. So yes, this is all the contouring. Oh, I am also going to do that stupid TikTok hack. I call it stupid because it actually does nothing for lips. But I see a lot of women contouring the lips, and honestly it does nothing. So this was just a trial, I guess. I'm then going to take my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. Wow, English, Anne. It is quite damp, and I'm going to just start blending these products out now. The reason being is because I don't like it actually when products sit on the face for too long and you have to reactivate it with a setting spray. I prefer to put the product down and blend it out immediately, because then it doesn't get patchy, it doesn't sit cakey on the skin. So I'm going to start blending all of this out now before it dries completely and becomes far too difficult to blend out. So be sure to do that. I think I only did half the face here, just so that I can actually show you what it looks like when everything is kind of blended out already. Just take your time when blending. Be sure to just really push the sponge in so that you're getting the product like pushed into your skin. I know that sounds really strange, but you want the product to hold, or you want your face to hold onto the product. So that's why you need to really just take your time to make sure everything is blended in and seamless and doesn't have any streakies or weird areas where you can tell like, oh, this is concealer, this is contour. It needs to just flow super seamlessly. Oh, okay, it actually does look like I did do half the face, so that's what it would look like, and that's what it looks like when it's done. So now I'm going to move on to cream bronzer. This is the Chanel Soleil de Tan something like that. I don't know. Same brush. And I'm just going to use this to warm up that contour slightly, because like I said, it is a little too cool for me. But also by adding the cream bronzer, you are adding just a layer of warmth to your skin. And I feel that is quite beneficial when doing underpainting. You don't want to, unless you want to be super structured like a Kim Kardashian contour, I feel like a bronzer is necessary just to warm up the face, especially if you are, you know, Victorian colored like me and don't want to look sickly and, you know, as if you're dying of the plague, because that's not attractive. I also just want to make a note that this whole underpainting situation, the very first time I saw it, Scott Barnes did it, which is Jennifer Lopez's makeup artist. And since then it has taken off, and he is like the OG of underpainting, but also I feel like it stems a little bit from the drag queen world too. But just something that I've noticed is that I feel like underpainting is the new clown contour. Do you remember back in like 2015, 2016, when everyone did like the dots and like the color correctors and like the stripes and that sort of thing? I feel like this is a more advanced or more mature version of that. It's still underpainting in a sense, or it was still underpainting, and then you like kind of blend everything together and it's supposed to look like this natural seamless makeup look. I feel like this is the exact same trend, just with a new label or a new name. And I feel like that's anything with trends these days. Same trend, maybe a slightly different technique, slightly different product, but still actually the same trend. Anyway, I normally always go in with a damp beauty blender to just blend out everything, because I feel like, yes, you can use your fingers, it's a more natural look. Yes, you can use a brush, it's more hygienic, but a sponge after everything just makes it look so natural and flawless in my opinion. So I keep going in with the sponge, if you were curious. And this is what it looks like after I've done that bronzing situation. You can see how much warmer my face looks now, and you might be thinking, oh, this is a lot of product. Honey, it really is not. It's just the technique, and it's essentially one-ish layer of makeup, if you will. Anyway, this next product I'm going in with is a discontinued product. I hate MAC for discontinuing them because they were my favorite products. It's basically the Studio Fix Quick Trick Stick. And it's basically, well, they came in two variations. It's either highlighter contour duo stick or a blush cream color base, which is the one I have here. So I'm using the blush. I cannot remember the name right now, but I'll link it somewhere for you. And I am just picking this up, well, I'm warming it up on my hand first, picking it up with a sponge and placing it down where I would normally flush or blush, if you will. And then it wasn't pigmented enough for me, so I just went in directly with the stick. And you can see it's a really nice, rosy, warm sort of blush, which I find is quite flattering for summer. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the baby pinks and stuff are nice, but this just adds some warmth to the skin, and this is a more natural blush tone for my skin tone. I'm then going to go in with the cream color base side. This is just essentially a glorified highlighter in a stick. I love putting these underneath my foundations. Like you'll know, Hush is my favorite cream color base. So I am just going to be tapping this in the areas where I want to add a shimmer highlight. There is a difference to highlighting the face and applying a highlighter to the face. Where we have done the highlighting portion already, we are now just adding a highlighter, because I do like the fact that skin looks more glowy and more skin-like with a cream color base underneath it. So that's why I do enjoy doing this step, or using this technique to create a very waxy, glossy type of skin-like finish underneath my foundation. Just warmed it up along the stick and am applying it with my fingers. The warmth of my fingers will just melt it in really, really nicely and just creates a very seamless pushed in finish, rather than just like shiny stuff sitting on top of my skin. You can see glow. And then of course just push everything in. Damp sponge will just finish off what your finger or brush could not do. It's seriously one of my favorite tools, damp beauty sponge. And that's what the face looks like with all the cream products down. Skin still looks very natural, still very, very minimal, nothing hectic. I feel like for this type of technique, a sheer foundation would work best. So I'm going in with my Studio Face and Body foundation. I'm using the shade C1. And the reason why I say a sheer foundation works best is because it's lightweight. You don't need the coverage. You've already got most of your coverage down with all the underpainting products that you have used. So a sheer skin tint even would work. A BB cream, sheer foundation like this would be best. Would be the best because it's thin, it's lightweight, it's not going to add an extra layer of heaviness to the skin. It's just going to tie everything together beautifully and just pull back what needs to be pulled back or accentuate what needs to be accentuated. And I'm applying this with the beauty sponge just because, well, like I said, I don't need that much coverage. I just need to fill in the gaps, and this foundation just does it for me. Normally I would apply it with my hands, but in causing friction in this type of product, it does create more coverage, and that's not what I wanted. I just wanted to like put foundation in specific places, if that makes sense. So you can still go over your entire face with your foundation, but I'm just doing an extremely light layer over everything. And you can see it has dimmed down a couple of the products, but it's still there. There's still like an inkling of, you know, a contour or a blush. I'm then just going to set certain areas with a translucent powder. This is the Prep and Prime translucent powder by MAC. It is the loose variant, my goodness. And again, still applying it with the damp beauty sponge. Basically what this does is it just creates a very smooth, flawless finish in your face. I know it's very daunting to use a wet sponge and a dry powder together, but trust me, this is a technique or a hack that I will not let down. I will not, you know, it hasn't failed me. It hasn't let me down. I will never let go of this hack. This hack is Rose sitting on the door and I'm Jack floating, drowning in the ocean. She's not going to let me go. And neither is this powder. So now just to bring back that bronze sculpt situation, I'm going to take a sculpting powder by MAC. They don't do these anymore, unfortunately, so I'm really sorry. Also, this one was collection, which you won't find, so I'm not even going to bother mentioning it. I'm just going to take it on a tapered brush. This is a 138 by MAC. I don't think they do this brush either, so moving on. Just get a bronzer, a coolish toned bronzer, and just set over all the places where you've sculpted and bronzed your face. Like I said, we are setting everything now with a powder, just to make sure that everything lasts you throughout the day. Essentially, this is also a technique you can use to create a more long wear in your foundation and your makeup for the day by doing all your cream products first and then setting them with the powder. This is creating a bulletproof finish of makeup, or bulletproof makeup look for yourself to last you throughout the day. I feel like with voiceovers I tend to ramble a lot. I don't have a set script, obviously. I just look and see what I'm doing and just talk, and it's quite annoying. Make sure to dab on your powder products. Don't just swipe it on. By pushing it on, you're creating a foundation base, and then you can blend out afterwards. If you blend out straight away, your product is going to be very blotchy, splotchy, and muddy. So be sure to push everything in first and then go over with whatever is left on the brush to blend it out. Much more seamless, less hard work. Think smarter, not harder. Or work smarter, not harder. Or just do both. Double chin, gone. Love it. Okay, so now moving on to blush. I am using this single pan from Isabella Garcia. It's sort of like a frosty pink sort of color. I'm going to use this to kind of add blush and kind of highlight at the same time, only just because it is a super frosty sort of blush. So I feel like this is more of like a blush topper, if I can say that. Anyway, regardless, slap your blush on, put it on in the exact same place where you had your cream blush placed, and just set that in. Again, I'm just using the same brush. Why? Because I am lazy. There's no other explanation for why I am using the same brush other than I was just lazy. So get your blush down. Okay, and then for highlighter, I'm going in with an all-time fave. This is Beaming Blush Extra Dimension Skin Finish, I believe. It's a beautiful rose goldy sort of pinky highlight, and I thought it would just actually work really well with the blush that I have down. So highlight the crap out of your face. I'm using a big fluffy brush specifically for this because, like I said, that blush is super frosty, so I don't want to add like more shimmer on top of shimmer, but it does add a really nice warmth, this highlighter specifically, like I said, because it is a rose gold sort of undertone. And then to just finish off and finesse this, I'm going in with some of my Toucher Dewy Skin Mist and just setting everything in place, and then of course pushing everything in with the sponge. I learned this on TikTok as well. I mean, I've been doing this at MAC when I was working there, but specifically, or more recently, again, I saw this TikTok hack where you drench your face with like a setting spray or a skin refreshing spray, and then you just take your damp sponge and just push the setting spray into your skin. And basically what this does is just, it's going to marry all your cream and powder products together to make it look a little bit more seamless and a little bit less powdery and give it a more natural finish. So here is the completed look of underpainting with all the extra additional things on top. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video and share and comment and do all the engagement things, I guess. And don't forget to follow me on social media. This is my handle. I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye!